going into the classrooms, but for teacher use, for administrative, like the one I think was Gavin said, the teacher uses it to take attendance and take the lunch count, and then maybe show us a couple of things to work with. And that's where I think there's a gap within schools in that administrations are worried about cyberbullying, they're worried about the kids getting out onto the internet, what they're going to be doing with the devices, and teachers don't know. So it's kind of a new process with them. In my class, my kids do have the tablets. They walk around with the tablets all the time. They have a center. They know when they're going to be working with it. I work with teachers to help set up classrooms, to have classroom management. Work with administrators to be able to say, okay, these are some of the things that you can do to make sure that it is a safe environment. Communicating with the parents, making sure the parents know and having the input back and forth. Because the kids are coming to school now. I teach kindergarten here in Flemington. The kids are coming to school with these little devices. They know how to use these because their parents have had smartphones for a couple of years. And so they're very comfortable with it. And they do want to share with the teachers. And that input of, we can share with some of the programs that we're doing at home that they've exposed to come in and show the teachers. And one of the other ones where I think it was also Gavin talked about, the only time that he gets to use a computer program is when he goes to speech class. And right now here in the state of New Jersey, that has been what the main rollout has for kids getting devices in the kids' hand have been for the special ed, for the special services, for doing speech, for doing adaptive learning, for classified students. But it's slowly moving into coming into the classroom on a full-time basis. And the other thing from a perspective of teachers, we have a generation of teachers who have seen trends. Everybody is saying, okay, this is the next new thing, this is the next big thing. And I can tell you, many teachers said to me, okay, yeah, they gave me this technology, the desktop that sat over there. They gave me a laptop. Now the laptop, my district gave me a laptop. They said, don't let the kids use it. Okay, well, that doesn't do me a lot of good. I don't use my laptop very much. I use my laptop to do the school issue, to do those administrative stuff, to do the attendance, to put into the power school and everything. But other than that, it gets closed down. Or I might plug in, I have an interactive whiteboard that I let the kids use, but they don't actually touch the keyboard or the laptop. But now teachers are starting to see, because everybody is getting the iPad, they're using their iPads at home, and now they're getting more and more open to, okay, I can use this, I can use the camera, I can record the kids, and they're seeing the power of this device that is very simple. What they don't want to have is all these different programs where they're trying to track everything and have to one more administrative thing. It's very much, keep it simple, record the kids making stories, so they can hear their feedback, so they can hear the enunciation of as they're developing their speech, so they can slow down with what that word is and break it down into parts. Another way for them to get the syllables, to get the letter sound relationships.
Do you think we're on a tipping point in terms of the Moore's Law and technology and Steve Jobs and everything has brought us, Google and YouTube? It can't be stopped. This force is going to tip and the schools are going to start changing. Do you think where are we on that shift?
I think we are at that tipping point, because I think it's the veteran teachers now who have been in the classroom for a while are starting to see the value of this and seeing how simple it is to implement this technology. It's not like the other technology in the past where it was a bulky thing or it was something that had to be done in isolation. These devices and tablets are walking around always. And as teachers, we're always trying to teach kids that learning isn't just within the school classroom from 8 to 3 or 8 to 3:30. Learning takes part all the time. And these devices allow the kids to see that, and it empowers the teachers.
So the advice might be to get smart on school purchasing app programs, make sure to know how those business mechanics work, and make it very friendly for schools. I remember Motion Math did that in-app sales thing. I told them, you're basically never going to sell that to a school because the teacher's not. Imagine a textbook where chapter 1, it's the first page of chapter 2 is it's glued shut. You have to put a quarter in to get it. It's not going to work. Teachers don't all have credit cards as well. You have to work with that business model. I want to shift over to you guys. You've been in the business for a long time. What advice do you have, or where do you see that where we're at right now in that whole change?
I actually think we're probably a little further away from the tipping point than Chris suggested, because I think everything you said about the tablet and the the accessibility and usability is all true. I don't see a cohesive pattern with schools and school systems and administrations, though, to utilize that technology. And I don't see the maturity yet in those systems to do that. So you ask me, and I'm telling you, I'd say, well, this to me, we're getting closer. I mean, this is really great, but I'm not sure we're going to make that tipping point, because the closer we get, I mean, people just become, I think, too enamored of technology. And
you mean tablets?
Hardware.
I'm not going to say tablets.
Okay.
Hardware. I mean, that's not the answer. I mean, frankly, like you said, we've been in this industry a long time. We've seen this before. I mean, basically, you buy the equipment. You know this. You already said that. They bought the equipment. It sits in the corner. Why? Not because there was anything wrong with the equipment. It's because there was really no plan, no cohesive, thought about how the equipment's really going to be used, how it's going to be supported. When something is wrong, who's going to actually answer the questions? The teacher's too busy having to teach, to deal with technology. So if something doesn't work, if my Wi-Fi is down or whatever, it's like, the whole class is disrupted. I mean, so you just have to have a plan to deal with all these things. And that's why I say, there's hope, but we're still having to deal with many of the same questions we've dealt with for many years.
Parker?
I think we're seeing a lot more frustration this year than we were a year ago from superintendents and curriculum directors about how to curate the content, how to keep it fresh for a kid, how to individualize it, and how to collect big data using iPads. That's really the pushback we get time and time and time again. Basically, big data for iPads, how to curate the content in a meaningful way. So say I'm teaching second graders math, and I've got 6 different second graders at 6 different levels. How do I provide the apps that all of them need? Okay. And so we see a lot of frustration on the part of the teachers because they realize what a powerful device it is.
What's the big data problem?
Well, because the apps don't talk to one another. So essentially, if you look at a dashboard, everything's reporting individually, and it's all apples to oranges to grapefruit and nobody's come up with a centralized system that basically uses one constant rubric and algorithm to put it all in front of a teacher in a meaningful way.
Is Common Core helpful?
That'll help a lot, and it's
Actually, it will be helpful. I mean, now see that you talked to the teacher, and I saw that.
Yeah,
see that?
I was telling. You see that?
Yeah.
So are you saying create an education
that.
center just like Game Center?
I think that would be fantastic. So,
Don, you got a...
I was going to say, if you're involved in education, you know that there are new national tests being created for the Common Core, and the government has funded some consortia of states to develop new online assessment systems to go with those tests that are supposed to come online in about 2015. And one of the biggest parts of that development is they're contracting with people to create what they call technology-enhanced items. Okay, so a certain amount of the items on these tests that everyone's going to have to deal with are ones that the student responds to with the same kind of interface that they're using on a pad right now.
and Washington State's actually they've already implemented that in a beta format.
So, it's how can you deny the need to have teachers and students familiar with the technology when you've mandated that they're all going to get tested that way?
Well, if there's good news. I mean, there's a lot of attention, and almost no one is saying that, there is definitely emphasis on spending more and buying more iPads and equipping the hardware. The fear is that it's just, the purchase comes before actually the plan. And so I mean, if I want to go to the good side, flip the good side, I've long been a proponent since our original business was with libraries, and that formed the core of our business for many years. But I've long said that there should be, the child is the same child, whether he's in a library, he's in school, or he's at home. So there should be, the mobility of the child's work should be there. Regardless of where he does it, he should be able to access it. And so in that sense, the mobility of the platforms is helpful. And certainly we as a technology firm, like many other technology firms, are working to make best of breed in terms of we're in terms of adding assessments to our product, in terms of being able to report children's progress. There's a whole layer to our products that the child never sees that we work really hard to make, for the professionals behind the scenes to make their lives easier. So we're not alone. I'm not saying we are. I'm not here to sell AWE, but the trend in the education industry is that a lot of people are paying attention to this, and the technology is enabling that, and I actually think it will bring us to, I wrote down your quote, I'm not sure I could get it word for word, but you were saying we're trying to get into a second intellectual renaissance.
Yes, exactly.
And I think that is, I do actually think we're getting
by
closer.
these guys that were sitting here just a few minutes ago. And I think the library solution that, if you want to see my ideal answer to the question, it's right over there. It's free public access to powerful technology. I want a Wii U that anyone could walk off the street, sit down, take the best software that Miyamoto just thought up, plug it in, and participate in the culture of games that normally has a $60 price tag, plus you have to have the HD screen and all of that. And there's a supervisor that's there to provide Maslow's support system. So, and then other kids can come and socialize. So that's it right over there. You can also check it out and just have access to the digital culture. I think that's critical from the Vygotsky and the social perspective, because we're all moving through this together as a big culture. We're moving into the information space. And so the idea that today, the good news is, more good news, when we were in North Dakota, all the teachers had devices in their pockets and they were familiar. Back when I used to do teacher training, you'd have to sit down and say, this is a mouse, and they'd lift it up and all of that. Today it's like, oh yeah, hold on, I got a call. It's voicemail memory, variables, screens, interfaces. It's all common, so we're through that. So I think times are changing. I think it's, whether ready or not, here it comes.
What do you gentlemen think, especially you, Chris, about the Khan Academy and like a flipped classroom structure?
I like the Khan Academy a lot. I reviewed his book as well. And I like his philosophy in that it's not to replace the teacher, it's to free up the time for the teacher to get to know the children that are in their classroom. And that's what I worry about. That too much, if we worry too much about statistics and standardized testing, and we have to be at this point through the year, that we devalue the human interaction between the teacher and the student, and what their value is to learn. I think, especially with newer teachers coming out, they're saying, okay, well, I just need to follow this curriculum. I need to follow this lesson plan that's laid out for me because this is proven to meet, the assessment spots where the kids are going to be at. And if the kids don't make it, well, then I followed this along. And there's kind of an excuse with it, where the Khan Academy allows teachers that freedom to go back and to work with the kids where they're at, to give them the support and the information that they need to meet those kids. So I'm very much supportive of the Khan Academy and that whole philosophy. Learning happens all the time. Right. And the kids should be able to find somewhere to go to find information. Teachers should be able to go to somewhere to find information about what their subject is. And that's what Khan Academy, iTunes U, those are great resources where you're getting different perspectives that can help you.
Yeah, I think blended learning is definitely here to stay in the rotational models. It's just a matter of figuring out which ones work for which age groups. I think one thing that's a pushback you're going to see in the next couple of years is the distance learning community is pushing very hard in this space in blended learning, and particularly for our age group in this room, for most of us, the social aspect of the brick and mortar schoolhouse is so critical that, and that this is what Chris was alluding to. We got to be careful we don't go too far in that direction. But
I think we might actually get to a point where the kids have the power. They're using the technology to assess us. They're actually videotaping us, measuring us, what we're doing. They're capturing our information. Because they have the power and we can't stop them. So I think it's awesome that you're capturing this. That's great. Because you got the power. What are you going to do with this?
There you go.
Put it on YouTube.
I show this to my mother.
All right. So. Yeah, Jim, sorry.
What are you finding that parents want? So like at AWE, do you get feedback? Are they pushing for more technology in the classroom? Are they interested in progress reports? In anything?
Yeah, that keeps bubbling up. We got to slay this beast. So.
Yeah, we've heard some interesting things today, I think, about progress reports, and I think we're not as much, and one part of my answer to your question is we're not as much experts on parents per se, because we have not been our product base has not been direct marketing to consumers. And yes, we will have more as we go down this path. We'll have more and more, to work with parents. But our primary focus has been working with the schools, and we're very definitely, adding progress tracking and things that will help a teacher report progress against those Common Core standards. We're all about trying to make the lives easier of the people who work with our products, as well as, of course, more effective, which means for their teacher to make the teachers more effective. When it comes to parents, we also, we have a portfolio report already. We're already, ready. Soon we'll be, ready to mail even to kindergarten or to pre-K. We'll be doing observational assessments, that can actually have, those assessments, mailed to parents and so on and so forth. So for us, it's kind of new. So it's kind of, I can't give you a direct answer from experience. But I have, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, I think it's very expensive for people to build that into their product. And I think as we saw earlier today, it may or may not be worthwhile. Because I think we've found the parents that we've actually talked to in feedback loops, it's a very small percentage of the parents who actually want that data. But for the schools, the administration, the buyers, the people who are going to make this, who are going to drive this in a big way, they want it as a checklist item, if nothing else.
Well, and a teacher wants to have the ability to send something off to a parent, I think, easily if they so choose.
Well, and the best parents, if you will, are always going to want that. Your more involved parents are always going to want that. Unfortunately, that's not a huge percentage of the total install base for any product, I would say.
And from the school perspective, you're saying that there's actually a real need for a standardized system for people to line up, hey, our app is, going to help development in these levels, and this of correlating performance in an app.
I'm not saying it's necessarily necessary, but I think it would help you certainly sell it into the education space.
Another feature.
I think, and that's another way where school administrations are probably improving a little bit, because they didn't used to even ask for efficacy. And now, there's more attention being paid to, can you prove this is really effective? So that's actually a good thing.
Yeah.
But there's really not a whole lot of it. Surprisingly, hey, we've got a lot of parents here. Frankly, efficacy studies to date really suck. I mean, just to give it a word.
To the nth degree.
Yeah. So I mean, a lot of money has been spent on education. And as a taxpayer, a lot of money has been wasted. So I mean, I'm not going to back away from that statement since I'm a taxpayer. So we want to demand efficacy in the system.
I agree.
But also, as a parent, a lot of that reported data that comes back from the schools, it's not really reflective of your child's learning. A lot of it's just saying this is how well they did on some game. This is how well they did on 25 math problems. And so you get the numbers and you get to see that, compared to other kids, but when it comes down to it, it's not really giving you that much information.
And that's that catch-22 of teachers relying upon what's here as opposed to what their judgment is interacting with the child. Because I do have those conversations more and more with parents in the past 2 years of, okay, well, what are my kids getting out of this, using the tablet, using this device? What you have to teach me as to why this is a good thing. So parents are asking that, but they're asking it to the teachers. And that's where the teachers need to be prepared and have to understand and have to be able to look at it as well and realize that it's a balance.
And I wonder if we could provide more of that to teachers. Because
that's what I do.
If all we're giving the teachers is say, well, you could tell them it's a 67.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, so I have the answer to this, and I'll tell you tonight. Tonight, I'm really happy to tell you I think we might have a rock star making an appearance, another second rock star, actually a rapper is going to drop in. So that'll be exciting. Try to sit next to somebody different on the bus when you come back and meet somebody new, share another app, keep the app sharing going. And I'd like to introduce Addison real quickly. Addison's one of our testers, just came in the middle part, helps keep me smart on games and everything else. I've been doing a lot of writing, really getting to be an excellent writer. And then Carol, my good friend and co-writer, right?
We'll see about it.
Done so much work on Mediatech and really taken it to heart. And without her, it wouldn't be probably be closed. So,
Probably.
yeah. And the support of the library and the town and everybody has gotten behind the concept. So appreciate your helping. And if you wouldn't mind stacking your chairs on the way out. Last word?
I'm sorry, it's the last word, but
I know.
I just want, you had asked me to talk a little bit to Duster Magic, so I just want to maybe just one Duster
Yeah, go ahead.
Magic perhaps.
Wrap it up for me.
Because it also maybe helps define a little bit to those who don't know AWE. We basically actually take and our product is an amalgam of the best of breed content. So we've been working with many of the folks here for many years, and over the years, why we come is we come and listen and see if there's any places where we can maybe add some of your content to our product. So over the years, I would just say, without naming any names, a few years ago, we saw a really, really beautiful product. The developer chose not to use even a mouse, okay, just strictly a keyboard. We actually incorporated that into our product. It was so beautiful. It was such, the idea of a child sitting down and walking with, through the parent with the application was a beautiful thing, and it was wonderful when it happened. But the reality was, it turned out to be dust because, even in that day and age a few years ago, who just wants to use a keyboard? So I mean, yeah, the interface is important. The interface is changing, so even multi-touch is not going to be the final interface in the business. So just don't get too fixed on hardware, okay? As one of my messages. And then finally, what we're going to say, some magic, and this is my only advertisement is actually for one of the content providers here. He didn't ask for an advertisement, but our product has, I guess, long partnered, and if I can find it here while I'm trying to talk.
One more.
One more? Yeah, exactly.
What do you got there?
And math, right? There we go.
That's the funniest looking iPad I
I
ever
was
seen.
just going to say, what is it?
It's not an iPad.
You ripped the monitor off a computer.
I'm sorry, this is, we don't sell this, folks. This is an Asus, it's a high-end Asus tablet, 12-inch. So if you want a big screen, you have to go to something like this. So, so I'm not actually trying to say we sell that. But I am saying, well, we have Darren's Math Doodles. It's one of the great products. It's also, of course, available on the iPad. And Darren's been a great collaborator and coordinator with us, as well as several other people here. So I apologize if I didn't signal out everyone.
So this is an example of a small publisher who is being, you guys are helping to get that into schools and libraries. So it's a way, it's another avenue, another way to get it in.
We are, this is almost advertising now, but we're in 40% of all libraries in the United States and in Canada. And so we have a pretty good presence. And we are, as the last couple of years, we're also targeting the education market as well, with features that are specific to the education market. So that's
cool. All right. Well, thanks for sharing your wisdom today, Chris.